Good morning. Firstly, I would like to apologize if I sound a little bit off, but I just wanted to make a quick intra-week update. I know it's a Thursday today, but just wanted to make a midweek update for what I'm looking for the week ahead, but only on the measures. Last week or over the weekend, I was pointing out how I am still bullish on the dollar and how I wanted to see essentially the power 3 play out, the accumulation, which is the chop around, the manipulation, which is the quick sudden drop of NFP, and accumulation manipulation, then finally the distribution. I also pointed out in the first video how I would like to see that tap into the consequent encroachment of the monthly buy-side imbalance, and we can see this blue line here is the consequent encroachment of the monthly buy-side imbalance, which is this fair value gap here, this buy-side imbalance residing here, measuring the high of this candle to the low of this candle. We can see the halfway mark is where this blue line is, this very light blue line. So we can see when markets opened on Sunday, we got a drop. On Monday, you can see up there, that's the date, Monday. On Monday we got a drop, taking out Friday's low and a displacement on a lower time frame to essentially have an internal market structure shift, buy side imbalance, held price to the upside and continuation to the upside even till Tuesday. But we did not see we didn't really get an opportunity for an entry to capitalize on this move to the upside. We just had this entry on a Monday, and that was it. Price traded below midnight price, which is this yellow line, and then into a discount, the PDRA. Then we moved to the upside, and that was essentially it, right? Another thing is that on Monday and Tuesday we didn't really have any news. No red folder, no orange or yellow folder, nothing at all came out on Monday and Tuesday, but we had this expansion to the upside. So now I did also point out how conflicted I would be, especially if we got to this area where we have the weekly buy side imbalance. That's now technically a weekly inversion fair value gap. So let's actually edit that. It's now a weekly inversion fair value gap, and I was looking to see if maybe price could hold this area to see lower prices, or if we were going to use this entire bullish candle wick to body, this entire area, as a bearish order block, because we did close below this previous candle. So even though I was supporting higher prices on the dollar, we may see a little bit of lower prices for now until later on when we could possibly get a continuation to the upside. I also mentioned in the last videos that I was looking to see if we will sweep this swing low and this swing low, but of course anything is possible and I'm open to anything right now. So let's see if we are going to be bearish, at least for the week, for the remainder of the week. Then I would like to see if the hourly breakers are going to hold. So looking at price here, we can see on Tuesday we created a swing high, on Wednesday we swept the high, and Wednesday we also got a displacement to the downside, creating a breaker, which is the last down close candle here. In this case, I would have technically taken this entire area from this candle's low to this candle's high. I would have taken this entire area as my breaker because we did close below this low, and I would like to see lower prices from here, targeting Monday's low, Monday's sell side liquidity. So that's what I'll be looking for. And another thing I wanted to point out before we move on to Euro is how we have a new high. Well, it's not that visible here, but if we zoom in close enough, we can see that we have a high here, and this high being higher than it, right? On euro, we would expect the opposite. We would expect a low created, and a low lower than it, right? We would expect something like this on euro, a low and a lower low. It's just like how we have a high and a higher high. So let's see if we'll see this structure, a low and a lower low, on EURUSD. And that's actually the next pair that I wanted to cover. So we'll continue our analysis from there. So we wanted to see a structure like so, right? A low and a lower low, but we can clearly see that we don't have that. We have a low and a higher low. So that's an SMT divergence with the dollar index. So let's label that as our SMT with DXY. So we have SMT between the two, and we got a displacement to the upside after that, creating fair value gaps along the way. And now I was looking at this inversion fair value gap to see how we would hold, if we would hold price here for higher move, or if we're going to use it as resistance to push lower. But we can see clearly that we broke through it again. So I'm looking to see if this fair value gap that was once a buy side imbalance be used again in this case for higher prices. But of course, as always, we do not and we will not blindly sell or buy in these markets. We would wait for a lower time frame confirmation, market structure shift, before anything else. Unless the risk reward is very slim, then we can sort of blindly, in quotes, take the trade. So I'm looking for this. I'm looking at this buy side imbalance here. If we do get this, this would be a unicorn setup because we have a bullish order block right here on the left of it. And I'm also looking at this inversion fair value gap to see if one of these two areas can hold the low of today, and then Friday creating a continuation to the upside and possibly sweeping Monday's highs. So that's what I'm looking for right now on euro. Of course, I am ultimately bearish on the dollar. Bullish on the dollar, so I'll be taking the weaker one, which is the pound, if I want to sell. But in this case, I am going opposite of what I am, of my higher time frame bias. So I'm looking for higher prices, and because I'm looking for higher prices, obviously I'm going to pick the stronger of the two sisters. In this case, it's the euro. So I'm looking to see if we can find long-in opportunities from this inversion fair value gap today and this fair value gap here. Of course, yesterday's low, Wednesday, being the invalidation point for these two trade ideas. Moving on to the indices, we have the S&P 500, E-mini S&P 500 on the daily chart. We pointed out how we wanted to see if we could possibly sweep this previous month's high, this buy side liquidity, and if we could tap into this inefficiency, we would like to see lower prices from there, right? And then on the second video that I made, I pointed out on NASDAQ that I would like to see if NASDAQ wants to run lower into this weekly order block. This giant purple area is a weekly order block and a daily order block as well. In this case, if we draw a line from there, it's a daily order block with a fair value gap. So this is also a unicorn setup if we had traded lower into this area. So I'm still looking to see if we'll get any of those two possibilities, because even here on NASDAQ, when we sweep this high, we will be trading into this inefficiency with this order block right here. I know my chart is a little bit messy right now, but I hope you can see. I'm looking at this up close candle, wick to body, and pull that to the right. We might sweep this liquidity and reject from there to the downside. Another thing to note is that we've been bullish all week so far. Today is Thursday. If we close bullish as well, I would be expecting a Friday TGIF setup, which means a 30% retracement, 20 to 30% retracement into the weekly range. I know it's been a short range this week so far, but That's what I would like to see going into Friday. The same goes for ES. Sweeping liquidity, tap into a high time frame PDRA, then retracement back into the range going into Friday. But right now, obviously, short term, I'm looking for this high to be swept right now. So these coming 2 days, I'm looking to see if we can sweep this high. And I also outlined what I was looking to see to possibly hold as support for higher prices. In this case, it's this 1 hour inversion fair value gap. I'm looking to see if the high of the day could be created here and see an expansion to the upside, targeting the 44.30 area, 44.30 level, I mean. And of course, as the currencies invalidation point, I want to see this swing low hold. So that's all I'm looking for, and I will personally be scoping out for possible entries or theoretical entries on E-mini S&P 500. For now, that's all I have. Good luck and good trading.